Alright, what's up yins guys? Time for another video. And this video is going to be a combination of talking about how college is a scam and how maybe a little bit of it is good. But it's going to be based on some YouTube videos I seen. YouTubers talking to that effect, and I seen some YouTube videos where there was this one political commentator guy arguing with this dudes and chicks at a university about the college courses they're taking. What's it going to do in their life? Get way in debt, and for what? And I believe that too. There's these people taking these damn gender studies and all this other bullshit and getting themselves way in debt, and they find out that they're not going to be making all this money. But yeah, they would talk down to you like a child. For example, they don't talk to their buddies, the other buddies that they work next to like this, but it'd be like, oh, what are you doing here? Why don't you go to college so that you can make more money and have kids like that? And then it's almost, and then you're like, well, with all due respect, what the hell are you doing here? If it's so great, why are you still here? You know what I mean? Why didn't you do it? But anyway, yeah, I laugh at that shit. College is a scam, and they want to reprogram you in a way. I took a couple college courses myself, and a couple of them were good, and I'm sort of glad I took them. But I did sit in some classes next to some young punks who never had a lease in their own name and never worked a job and got an income of their own in their lives. Which I laugh like hell at them. But yeah, and then if you got this far in this video too, little laugh too, I can brag about my glory days in a way. And people's, okay, before I ever did any college classes, or before YouTube started getting on the scene, you know, that I actually got my first YouTube accounts. A couple years before that, see, how long ago was that? I mean, decade or so before that, in my glory days, and this is for some of you people, my critics or my lurkers that might say, oh, get a haircut, your thoughts don't count or make no sense to me, I'll get a haircut, and talk bullshit that you don't have any means whatsoever to enforce. This is for you here. So I bragged about my glory days. You're dealing with a person who I remember when I worked in factory next to particular people. Some of them were friends, and some of them would give you compliment sandwiches, right? And I don't know, maybe some of you guys watching may have dealt with this condescending bullshit. People a little older than you that you worked right next to, talking down to you like a child. I remember back in the days where, yeah, I started out minimum wage job, getting $200 paycheck, first lease in my name, and $200 paycheck for working Saturdays, overtime and Saturdays, and, you know, paying rent and stuff like that. And my ways were also to feel richer than I am. Don't smoke cigarettes, don't have no drinking parties like some people would get mad at you that, oh, you got your first place, you ain't you gonna have a bunch of parties in your place? And no, and then they're all mad or whatever. And don't be buying cigarettes, don't be going to the bar like acting like you're shit, you know, you don't have no habits. Then them ways worked good for me when I got my first job out of minimum wage, outside of minimum wage, a temporary service that you get on with the company, and end up having profit sharing bonuses and everything else. And again, paying your rent more comfortably, may be able to eat out at a restaurant across the street every day. No alcohol. I didn't hang with the cliques that drink and smoke, or the people that be bragging about, oh, I can't wait till I get out of here and it's quitting time so I can go home and get my dick sucked again. Oh yeah, I learned that sarcasm from Henry Rollins too. But anyway, yeah, anyway, yeah, getting past the rambling here. Yeah. Anyway, in these workplaces, I had a couple people that were friends, but they'd speak to you like you're a child, right? Oh yeah, this place ain't it. Yeah, you should. Yeah, both black and white, and black women and white women and guys. They're a little older than you and speak down to you like a child. Oh, why don't you go get an education, go to school for something, night school. This job ain't completely it. I mean, after all, you want to be able to buy a house and buy like an SUV and have kids and all that. Like, nothing against having kids. I mean, if that's what you want to do, if you can afford to have kids, but literally talking down to you that your whole purpose in life to getting a job out of minimum wages to go have a kids and make house payments and car payments and all that shit. But and then anyway, and yeah, these people. Yeah, this is also a thing about, if you want to call it, what I have against certain conservatives that are further right. The further on the right. I can't stand the left, but I'll tell these leftists that I make fun of all the time. Yeah, if it's any consolation to them, here's some things about conservatives, not that I can't stand, particular ones that say shit like that. Okay, but anyway, my point to the ramble is, you'd have people, I had people when I worked in a factory talking that shit to me like I'm a child, like I'm one of their neighbor's kids or something, right? And I'm like, well, with all due respect, if that's so great, what do you do in work in this place? Hey, maybe you had some seniority over me, right? You make a few bucks more than me. What the hell are you still doing here? Why are you here then? And then in a lot of cases, the only real reason, there's a lot of other real reasons why they say that too. Yeah, in a lot of cases, you're supposed to get a haircut. If you want, actually, they'd be actually acting like, well, you really shouldn't be at a job like this. Like, you want to put your hair in a ponytail, walk around without getting a haircut, right? Or put your hair underneath a hat while you're at work, or a bandana while you're... Yeah, you shouldn't be one of them people that don't get a haircut so you can just get over by, not having any habits, so you can buy yourself leather jackets and stereos and CD changers like I did. Yeah, back in my glory days, that's what I was doing too. You people talk down to you. Oh yeah, in Western Pennsylvania. Yeah, excuse me for the pauses and all that. There's so many parts to this. I could make so many videos about this. And certain, old people in Western Pennsylvania. What I just told you, what shit people talk to you in factories over here. This is Western Pennsylvania talk. And it dovetails into some of the Western Pennsylvania old people, condescending old people mentality. Yeah, I'll say that again. The condescending old folk mentality. Yeah, like, yeah, you're living in your parents' house, but eventually you end up getting a place, right? Maybe you don't do it right away, but maybe I did it out when I turned maybe, I think, 21 or whatever the hell. You'd have the old people saying, oh, when are you going to get a job and get out of the house? And then when you're about to get your lease and you announce it, especially ones that your neighbors, and some of them are just busybodies, you tell them, and it's like, then they go that other route and say, oh my God, you're deserting your parents. Who the hell do you think you are? What's wrong with you? That was the old fogey mentality, the old fogey busybody mentality outside of the workplace in Western Pennsylvania. But I don't know any of you guys where you guys are from, if that's also a Midwestern old fogey thing or what. But the old fogey busybody thing. First it's like you're barely old enough to leave the house, and they're like, oh, when you're going to get a job and get out of your parents' house. Then when you announced it, yep, you're in the process of doing it. Oh, how are you going to pay your bills? I'm like, with the job that I've been making my money on, and And then all of a sudden, you're deserting your parents. Oh my God. And then you hear these people over here later on, they're glorifying their own relatives, like their grandkids or their nephews or whatever. Oh yeah, they're the same age as you. They're glorifying the hell out of them. You hear their big mouths talking. Oh yeah, and the Western Pennsylvania thing. How your kids or grandkids doing? Oh, they're in Florida. All you gotta do is say they're in Florida. For all you know, they could be in the slummy part of Florida and the drug-ridden end of part of Florida. Who the hell knows? But yeah, they would. It's always they're in Florida. Yeah, they'd be bragging it up about sons or daughters or grandsons and granddaughters in their family, but then they'll go and talk down to you and say, "Oh, you were running out on your parents. Oh, somehow you're not allowed to go and get a." Yeah, first you tell me that I should get a haircut and get out there, get an income of my own, right? But then when I go and do it, oh my God, you got a job out of minimum wage without getting a haircut, and you got this. Oh my God, you're spending it on these leather jackets and these stereos, and you're not having no kids. Oh, he must be on dope. Yeah, I'd go up there like a stand-up comedian or be like Henry Rollins, do spoken word. Maybe somebody will laugh or not, but nothing new under the sun. I couldn't be a comedian and talk about this shit because it's done to death. I can just express myself right here if you guys tolerate me or whatever. But that's some of the. If you wanted to twist my arm, the shit that I can't stand about some of the conservatives. I always said that I can't stand the far left, but I always said that there's a part of the far right and conservatives, if they didn't have another enemy, if they didn't have a bigger enemy like the LGBT, radical LGBT community and radical leftists, if they didn't have them as the enemy, they'd be back to being obsessed with people like me and maybe some of you. That we're going to the hell and we're going to go to the hell for doing better in life and without getting a haircut. Yeah, that's right. And then, but yeah, that's the way that is, I guess, with people. But yeah, that's some of the crazy shit that's before the internet came, you know what I mean? But these people would tell you, oh, why don't you go to college and shit like that. But alright, if you got this far in this video too, fast forward, say no job in Western Pennsylvania lasts forever, you end up looking for other jobs. And how I end up doing a little bit of college classes that I don't regret. I still think college is a scam. There's a lot of people that are good people, right, that trusted in them college counselors. Say, oh yeah, you take all this, you're going to get this good paying job. And how do you know that? Research all that. But then there's another side of these liberals that go to college. They think they're taking all this stupid shit. I don't feel sorry for them. But, when no job in Western Pennsylvania lasts forever, you end up looking for a new one, and you end up you take a few college courses for a while. But I didn't care about computers when I was working certain factories. Windows 95 and then even Windows 98 and 2000 was around. It was a big deal to have computers, and I wasn't even on that computer bandwagon, right? So I ended up taking these college courses later, right? And all I cared about is the only technology I gave a shit about is my 400 disc CD changers and fancy stereos of the day, which are actually ancient relics right now. They still have shit similar to that now. And everything's Bluetooth. Man, I embrace the shit out of that now, the Bluetooth thing. But anyway, yeah, I went to college and the technology and the computer shit kicking and screaming before I got into YouTube eventually, right? And I found a whole new world, if you will, and this is how college is good. I should have saved this. I should have said this straight out right earlier in the video. But if you got uh, this far into it, congratulations. But since I was doing the computer thing, kicking and screaming, I was realizing when you go back to apply for another job, now when you apply for another job, I was realizing this back then, that the old ways don't cut it anymore. You don't walk in anywhere to apply a paper application anymore. They look at you like they don't even want you there. It's like they got this attitude like the whole civilized world knows you go on the internet, the website, and apply. And I'm like, oh, the website. Oh, yeah, I heard about those. And yes, I did say it like that too. Oh, website thing. And when you were to say it the way I say it, even whether you mean it to be sarcastic or not, they take it as being sarcastic and they think you're being a dick. And it's almost like I learned that later eventually, you know what I mean? Well, some of them sort of understand it. Yeah, I'm almost laughing now because, yeah, that and a cell phone too. If you didn't have an internet, you don't have email and a cell phone. Oh, and then when you're poorer and you say if you end up collecting partial food stamps and shit like that in my state and whatever other state you guys is in, you can get one of them free cell phones, which they are pieces of junk. And then after college, I started all over again anyway, and end up working in certain places. But anyway, oh, that's another thing too. People criticize those free cell phones, but that's another thing too. They don't want to hear no excuses. You don't have a email. Yeah, they want you to apply for jobs on the website thing, and they don't want to hear that you don't have a cell phone. And they don't want to talk to you if you have those old school answering machines, whether it's the ones with the cassette tape or the newer ones without the cassette tape that before the MP3 actually came. Yeah, I was still in the era where people still had answering machines. They went from being in cassette tape to it's like a built-in, recording system attached to your phone. But they don't want to hear that shit that you weren't there, and if you get, they don't even like voicemail on your cell phone. But anyway, these people, even though they have certain things against people get free cell phones, they're aware that you can get a free cell phone if you're even temporarily poor, right? So that means they don't want to hear the excuse you weren't there to answer your phone. They assume that you know that you can get a free cell phone. Yeah, I've been there for a short time, and my opinion, people don't need to be outraged. People were more outraged about them. I'll do a separate video on this later, but if you got this far, people were really, in my opinion, even though I can't stand the far left and Democrats that claim they'll be for the poor. Strange coming from me, but I have an opinion that people are being too outraged about the free cell phones. Okay, you're not getting no fancy ass cell phone. They're pieces of goddamn junk. But yeah, I used them temporarily because you had to answer the phone. The kind of line of work I got into, it ended up being assignment work, which was really cool. Going to different places, it was an adventure. But so anyway, this sounds like a ramble, but like I discovered a whole new world. Them little college classes that I took, there were some classes that I don't regret because it actually helped educate me in this internet thing. And there was a few that I sort of had fun with, but I regretted getting in debt on. But there were some other things about coding that I didn't regret. My biggest regret is I didn't take that a lot of the multimedia shit that was more fun. To be able to do a lot of shit, because I went classes with a couple of different people, but I ain't gonna explain that whole to you. That makes the video too long. But yeah, there are some people that would have regret mixed with being glad that they did it, which that's more like me. But still, at a particular level, college is a scam if you're taking all that other garbage that people were taking. And I can even do my own video about what kind of all that garbage out there. I don't think I even need to do that shit. I watch enough of YouTube videos about that to, I don't think I really need to add to it. If I do it, it'd be a separate video. I mean, other YouTubers are already doing videos on that shit, but yeah, that is, yeah, that was it. My glory days, which I'm not apologizing for, that I was in that factory work life. You know, when the internet was barely getting started, you'd have the more conservatives would be criticizing you. How dare you get a job out of minimum wage with overtime and all that, and not buy an SUV or a minivan and make a bunch of kids. And and without getting a haircut, who the hell do you think you are? And talk down to you. Oh yeah, what are you doing here? Why don't you go get an education so you can have kids? And then you're like, oh, if it's so great, what are you doing here? And that money you're making, you're raising kids. If it's so great, then why didn't you do that? What are you doing here? You know what I'm saying? But anyway. All right, yins guys, tell you a little story here. My take on conservatives, and my most fond memories of conservatives, if it's of any consolation to any of my lurkers who are on the far left, that my fondest memories about, maybe if you want to call far right or conservatives, were days when the internet was barely in existence. I didn't have no internet, and I worked in factories. My fond memories were ones you worked next to who were politely passive aggressive, would give you compliment sandwiches and stuff like that.